about since the start of your career. You log into your banking app, watch your monthly pay land, and realize you're now earning well into six figures. On paper, you've made it. But then you look at your savings account, you check your investments, you scan your mortgage balance, your credit card, your monthly outgoings, and instead of feeling secure, you feel anxious. You're earning £100,000 a year, yet somehow you still feel broke. You're working harder than ever. Your responsibilities have grown. Your income has grown, but your financial stress hasn't disappeared. In some cases, it's actually got worse. If you've ever achieved a financial goal only to find it didn't feel as satisfying as you expected, you are far from alone. Today, we're going to explore one of the most important financial concepts that nobody talks about enough: why a high income does not automatically create wealth. Stay with me until the end, because I'm going to reveal the psychological trap that quietly keeps so many high earners stuck, regardless of how much they make. More importantly, I'll share the one question that can completely change the way you think about money and help you step off that treadmill for good. Welcome back to Quiet Wealth. If you're new here, my name is Amara, and on this channel we focus on building genuine long-term wealth rather than chasing the appearance of wealth, because there is a huge difference between the two. Before we dive in, a quick reminder that everything discussed in this video is for educational purposes only and should not be considered financial advice. Always do your own research and seek professional guidance where appropriate. Now, here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people spend their entire careers trying to increase their income. Very few spend the same amount of effort learning how to convert that income into lasting wealth. As a result, they end up winning the salary game while quietly losing the wealth game. Today, we're going to break down exactly how that happens, why lifestyle inflation is far more dangerous than most people realize, and the practical steps you can take to ensure your next pay rise actually improves your future rather than simply funding a more expensive present. Let's start with a distinction that could completely change your financial life. Income is what you earn, wealth is what you keep. It's a simple idea, but it gets lost because society tends to celebrate income far more visibly than wealth. People proudly announce promotions, they update their LinkedIn profiles, they talk about bonuses over dinner, but nobody posts on social media about quietly increasing their ISA contributions or building a 6-month emergency fund. The things that actually create wealth are largely invisible. The things that create the appearance of wealth are highly visible, and that's precisely where many people get into trouble. Research consistently shows that a surprisingly large percentage of high earners still report living month to month. While exact figures vary depending on the study and country, the overall pattern remains remarkably consistent. Many people earning well above average incomes still feel financially stretched. Why? Because spending tends to rise alongside income. A graduate starts on £30,000. A few years later, they're earning £50,000, then £70,000, then perhaps £100,000 or more. At every stage, the lifestyle expands. The flat becomes a larger flat. The larger flat becomes a house. The practical car becomes a premium car. The annual holiday becomes 2 holidays, then business class, then luxury hotels. None of these individual decisions seem unreasonable. That's exactly what makes the process so dangerous. Nobody wakes up one morning and decides to sabotage their finances. Lifestyle inflation happens gradually, one upgrade at a time. And before long, every extra pound earned has already been allocated to a more expensive way of living. The salary increases, the stress remains. Now, let's talk about the real culprit behind this pattern: the hedonic treadmill. This is a psychological concept that explains why human beings rapidly adapt to improvements in their circumstances. In simple terms, whatever feels exciting today eventually becomes normal. Think about your own life. Remember your first car, your first pay rise, your first home, your first big holiday. At the time, each one probably felt significant. You imagined it would make a lasting difference. And initially it did, but after a few months, those things became part of everyday life. You adapted, your expectations adjusted, and your attention shifted to the next goal. That's the treadmill. The problem isn't that we achieve things. The problem is that we quickly stop appreciating them. Our brains are designed to normalize improvements. And while this tendency was useful for survival, in modern financial life, it can become extraordinarily expensive. Every time we adapt to a higher standard of living, we begin treating it as the minimum acceptable standard. What once felt luxurious now feels ordinary. What once felt extraordinary now feels expected, and that creates a constant restless desire for more. More income, more possessions, more upgrades, more status. The finish line keeps moving. Many people genuinely believe they'll feel secure once they reach a certain income level. Then they reach it. Within months, they've set a new target. Then another, then another. Years pass, the income grows, the lifestyle grows, the expectations grow, yet the feeling of enough never arrives, not because they're failing, but because they're trapped on a treadmill that has no natural endpoint. This brings us to one of the most important distinctions in personal finance: the difference between the status game and the wealth game. Most people are unknowingly playing the status game. The status game is about external validation. It's about how your life appears to other people. The expensive watch, the luxury car, the designer labels, the impressive postcode, the carefully curated social media feed. Now, there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying nice things. The issue arises when purchases are made primarily to signal success rather than to genuinely improve your quality of life. Because status is relative, no matter what you buy, someone else will always have a bigger house, a newer car, or a more impressive lifestyle. It's a competition that never ends, and it's extraordinarily expensive. The wealth game is entirely different. It happens behind the scenes, it's quiet, it's often boring, and that's precisely why it works. The wealth game is about building an emergency fund, investing consistently, growing your pension contributions, reducing unnecessary debt, increasing your assets, and creating options for your future. Most genuinely wealthy people spend far less time trying to look wealthy than others might imagine. They're focused on ownership rather than appearance. Because ownership creates freedom, appearance creates pressure. Let's simplify everything we've covered so far into one equation. Wealth equals income minus expenses, that's it. It's not glamorous, it's not complicated, but it's true. The gap between what you earn and what you spend determines your ability to build wealth. A person earning £40,000 and saving £12,000 a year is building more wealth than someone earning £120,000 and saving £5,000. The higher earner may have the larger house and the newer car, but the lower earner is creating a stronger financial future. This is where many people become confused. They focus entirely on increasing income while neglecting the spending side of the equation. And while increasing your income is absolutely something worth pursuing, income alone cannot solve a spending problem. If expenses rise as quickly as earnings, wealth remains stagnant. Here's another way to think about it. Every pound you don't spend is not just a pound saved. It's a pound that can be invested, a pound that can compound, a pound that can work for you while you sleep. Over decades, that difference becomes enormous. Here's something that often surprises people. Many genuinely wealthy individuals don't experience every pay rise as spending money. They experience it as investing money. When they receive a raise, they don't immediately ask, "What can I buy?" They ask, "How can I use this to strengthen my future?" That single mindset shift changes everything, because wealth isn't built through occasional grand gestures. It's built through consistent behavior, repeated over many years. Small increases in pension contributions, regular ISA investing, avoiding unnecessary lifestyle upgrades, living slightly below your means. These habits don't look exciting, but over time, they create extraordinary results. So how do we actually step off the treadmill? How do we stop running faster just to stay in the same place? There are two practical rules that make a real difference. Rule 1, create a lifestyle inflation barrier. Every time your income increases, decide in advance what percentage will go toward your future before your lifestyle has a chance to expand. For example, 50% invested, 30% saved, 20% available for lifestyle improvements. The exact percentages matter far less than the principle. Automate it where possible. The less opportunity you have to spend it, the more likely it is to remain invested and working for you. Rule 2, define what enough actually means for you. This is the most important question in this entire video. What is your money actually for? Not society's answer, not your colleague's answer, not the answer sold to you by advertisers or displayed on social media. Your answer. What are you genuinely trying to achieve? Perhaps it's financial independence. Perhaps it's paying off your mortgage. Perhaps it's helping your children through university, or having the freedom to reduce your working hours, or simply sleeping well at night knowing you're secure. Until you define what enough means for you personally, you'll continue chasing numbers without direction. And when you chase numbers without direction, there is no logical point at which you can stop. The people who feel most financially satisfied are not necessarily those with the highest incomes. They're often the people with the greatest clarity. They know exactly what they're building toward. And because they know their destination, they're far less likely to be distracted by every shiny opportunity that appears along the way. The biggest financial mistake isn't earning too little. It's allowing your lifestyle to expand so aggressively that no amount of income ever feels sufficient. A higher salary can absolutely improve your life. It can provide security, opportunity, and genuine freedom, but only if you deliberately choose to convert part of that income into assets. Otherwise, you're simply running faster on the same treadmill. Income creates potential, wealth creates freedom, and the difference between the two is what you choose to keep. So, before you leave today, I want you to sit with one question. What does financial freedom genuinely look like for you? Not the version sold by advertisers, not the version displayed on Instagram, your version. Because once you have a clear answer to that question, every financial decision becomes easier. You'll know when to spend, you'll know when to save, and you'll know when you've finally reached enough. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this valuable, please subscribe to join the Quiet Wealth community, where we focus on building lasting financial security rather than chasing status. And in the comments below, I'd love to know, what does financial freedom mean to you personally? I read as many comments as I can, and your perspective genuinely matters. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.